Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. Today is Monday, September the 28th, 2020. On today's show, I break down South Carolina's 31-27 loss to Tennessee Volunteers. Yes, let's talk about it, guys. Obviously, a tough way to start the season. Gamecocks falling to 0-1, but I'll dive into it. Offense, defense, special teams. Just give my overall thoughts, the positives, the negatives, what went right, what went wrong in South Carolina's season opening losses. Again, the Gamecocks falling to Tennessee 31-27. They fall to 0-1 to start the 2020 football season. Also, news and notes to get into, a ton of listener questions, a ton of voicemails, obviously, as you can imagine here on a Monday. And also, we do have a fantastic interview. Former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Sawyer joined the show. Phenomenal guy, first things first. We had a great conversation. He talked about his path to South Carolina, his Gamecocks career, the ups, the downs, dealing with injuries, Mark Kingston, the state of the baseball program. We got into a ton of stuff Gamecock baseball related. So sit back, relax, enjoy, tune into that. It is all brought to you by our friends, as always, at MyBookie. Guys, just because the Gamecocks aren't winning don't mean you can't win, all right? It's football time, and at MyBookie, that can only mean one thing. It is winning season. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. Winning season means free bets, super contest, survivor, and more. At MyBookie, winning season is all about your chance to win big. Guys, you can bet anything. Bet NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball, UFC, college football, NFL. We've got, like I said, MLB playoffs coming up, as well as yesterday was the last day of the regular season. Guys, anything and everything you can think of, you can bet on it. The craziest sports time of your lifetime is here. It's simple. Make your picks, win big, collect your cash. Invest in your intuition. Select from hundreds of future bets, or you can bet games in real time with MyBookie's live betting. Put that big brain of yours to good use, guys. Go to mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Gamecocks, and you're going to double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play. So, guys, you go to mybookie.ag, put in promo code Gamecocks. They are going to match your first deposit. You put in $1,000, they're going to give you $1,000. You put in $500, they'll give you $500. It's literally free money. It's a free play. You can bet on it. If you lose, guess what? It doesn't come out of your account. And if you win, you keep the money, guys. It's a win-win situation. It's designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. Thousands of cross-sports wagers, props, and parlays await. Sign up now to bet with the best and celebrate your victory. Again, guys, that's mybookie.ag, promo code Gamecocks. Mybookie.ag, promo code Gamecocks. Your winning season begins today only at MyBookie. Let's get it. Spurs Up Show, as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in here on a Monday. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend besides the obvious. Obviously, if you're a Gamecock and a Falcon at this point, I said this on social media, I'm praying for you. I am genuinely praying for you, but hope you're all having a fantastic start to your week, whether you're on your commute to work, you're in the office, you're at home, you have the day off, whatever it may be. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday, a fantastic start to your week. Let's get into some housekeeping items before we actually dive in the show, dive in the game. Obviously, we have a ton to get to and a ton to talk about. The first things first, guys, I do want to say a major thank you, a huge thank you to you guys that came out to Overtime Bar and Grill Saturday night, watched the game, interacted with me. It was a fantastic time. Also, the people that tuned into the pregame show and the postgame show, the live stream before and after the game, it was awesome. It was fun. Again, I know it wasn't as fun as we'd have liked it to be, obviously with the game result, especially the post game. But again, for the support, for the love, for those that came out, truly do appreciate it. We had a blast. We had a really, really good time. And obviously, we're going to do more of those. I'm actually about to announce in just a second. But thank you so much to those who supported, who came out. We did have a blast. Also, as I always tell you guys, if you have not done so here on a Monday, take 5 seconds out of your day. Be sure to go rate the show, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever it might be. Rate the show. Leave 5 stars. Leave your thoughts, your feedback, whatever it may be, things you like, you don't like. I do take time to look at the reviews. So, again, I appreciate those of you who have done so. Also, if you're not subscribed, again, we're dropping daily podcasts Monday through Friday. You want to make sure you don't miss out on those. Be sure you hammer the subscribe button. Again, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. Heck, if you're listening on YouTube, I know our YouTube listens, as far as the podcasts are concerned, have gone up a ton recently, and I love to see that. Make sure you are subscribed because, again, you will get those daily notifications when the podcast drops. Also, like I just mentioned, again, thank you so much, guys, for making this past weekend at Overtime Bar and Grill a success. We're going to do it yet again. I think we might do this every single game. It's going to be a week-to-week thing, which I'll let you guys know. But I can confirm we are going to be throwing another watch party Saturday at Overtime Bar and Grill for the Florida game. Now, it is a noon kickoff. I'm still kind of figuring out. You guys will see me put the official social media graphic out on social media, but we're figuring out the exact time of when the doors will open for the game. But I'm planning on going live for the pregame show at 11 o'clock, and then obviously postgame I will go live, take your questions, comments, give my thoughts just as I did this weekend. But plan on it this weekend. If you're in the city, you need a spot to watch the game. Again, I know it's a noon kick, but still, Carolina, Florida, it's a big game. Overtime Bar and Grill is going to be the spot to watch. I would say doors probably open at 10:30. They'll open up at 11 at the latest. But, again, just stay tuned to social media, and you guys will get a look at when everything's going down. They're obviously still going to have fantastic specials. I can tell you guys, because obviously the wings dominated the specials. I had the wings Saturday night. Unbelievable. Unreal. The wings were so freaking good. So be sure, Overtime Bar and Grill, if you're in the city, need a spot to watch the game, you're not going to find better specials in the city, and the venue is fantastic. You can ask anyone that went to the watch party on Saturday. Again, check it out, Overtime Bar and Grill. Stay tuned on social media for all the details. All right. Let's get into it. Tennessee recap. South Carolina falling to the Vols 31-27 at Williams-Brice Saturday night. In just typical Gamecock fashion. Really all you can say. Obviously, I'm going to go over offense, defense, special teams. I really want to dive into a little bit of everything because I felt, here on a Sunday afternoon, obviously, after you've had time to process everything and think about it and just think about the game last night, it's a weird feeling because, there's not all negatives. There are definitely positives to pull from the game. But it certainly feels like a little bit of here we go again with the way that South Carolina season went last year, how this season starts. Let's go ahead and dive into the specifics. And then, like I said, I'll give my overall thoughts at the beginning. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. And, again, we can start with the positives. I want to talk about Colin Hill. Because I saw a lot of mixed reactions with Colin because we all know with the offense, you got off to that really fast start. First drive of the game, you score. After that, you don't score for the rest of the first half. You're thinking to yourself, oh, my God, what in the world's going wrong? You're down 14-7 at halftime. 20 points in the second half, which South Carolina actually outscored Tennessee 20-17 in the second half of that ball game. But 20 points in the second half. Colin Hill on the night, 25 for 39, 290 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I personally really, really liked what I saw from Colin Hill. And I talked about before the game that I expected Colin to play well. And really, Colin Hill looked exactly like I thought he would. Let me put it this way first. He is clear-cut QB1. There's no question. There's no doubt. He is clear-cut your starter. He is your guy. For those fans that keep asking, are we going to see Helinski? Is Helinski going to see any series? Guys, I fully believe this. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I fully believe this is Colin Hill's team now. And the only way we are going to see Ryan Helinski again this season is if Colin Hill gets hurt, God forbid, or if he's just playing that poorly and they want to make a change. But I even said last night before the game, because people are asking, what's the leash on Colin Hill? Are we going to rotate Colin Hill and Ryan Helinski? This offense, and again, I think there are tons of positives to pull from the offense on Saturday night. There really are. If you'd have told me in pregame South Carolina was going to score 27 points, I would have signed up for that 100 times out of 100. If you'd have told me Colin Hill was going to throw for 290, I'd have been giddy about that stat line. But I think with the quarterback situation, this offense, again, you're going to continue to evolve every single week, get better, find weapons, find some consistency, find continuity on your offense. You're not going to do that changing quarterbacks, going in and out. You have to pick one of the two guys. If you keep going back and forth, you're going to spin your wheels. That's why I don't think you're going to see it happen. Again, moving on, though, into Colin Hill, his performance, I thought Colin Hill looked really, really good. A guy, listen, he's got to have a good offensive line, and most quarterbacks do. He needs time to throw the football, okay? He has to have time to throw it. A lot of zip on his throws, though. Again, completed 64% of his passes. Again, I know there were a lot of slants, and, I think he does have some nice touch on the ball as well. Again, I thought Colin Hill gave you exactly what you needed to have. Yes, the pick, a bad play. He throws it behind Shi Smith. It gets tipped. It goes for a pick six. It can't happen. He said that after the game. It cannot happen. But overall, I mean, I was very satisfied with the way Colin Hill played. I have no gripes. I'm excited for the rest of the season to watch him, to continue to develop. And when you think about it, guys, what he's working with, what Colin Hill is dealing with and working with as far as outside of Shi Smith, a lack of proven weapons, your running back position. I mean, again, and I'm going to talk about in just a second, I think you've got capable guys, but just, again, not a lot of proven weapons around him, and he goes out there and throws for 290 yards. So Colin Hill gets a passing grade. For his first start in an SEC game, first start in a Gamecock uniform, he gets a passing grade from yours truly. I like Colin Hill. I feel good about Colin Hill. Again, is he a perfect quarterback? Absolutely not. Is he the best quarterback in the country? Absolutely not. But I think he's definitely a very, very solid option for this team. Like, I think you saw a quarterback last night. Again, the pick six was, he said after the game, it cannot happen. But I didn't see him put the ball in harm's way a ton. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like the veteran out there. He looked like a guy who was in command of the offense. I liked what I saw from Colin Hill. Another guy that I was really impressed with, Shi Smith. I mean, listen, I've been talking about Shi Smith all offseason and basically saying that, one of the biggest questions at the wide receiver position was Shi Smith ready to step up and be the number one wide receiver for South Carolina? Because he had never done that. It was always Debo, Brian, and Shi, or Brian and Shi. Well, not only did he do that, but damn, I mean, with flying colors, 10 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. Phenomenal. I thought Shi looked as good as he's ever looked in a Gamecock uniform Saturday night. I mean, a guy that extremely explosive. He looked kind of like how I thought he'd look his entire career. He looked like a Debo Samuel 2.0, honestly. I mean, that slant that they used to run with Debo, they ran that again with Shi Smith, and Tennessee just had no answer for it, which I thought it was wild how Tennessee just refused to double. They basically refused to cover Shi Smith. I mean, 10 catches. You know South Carolina's going to him early and often. You know that South Carolina's going to go to him early and often. Colin Hill with 25 completions. Shi Smith has 10 of those. So almost half of the completions went to Shi Smith. But I think South Carolina definitely has a true weapon on the outside. I'm really, really excited for Shi Smith. But I will say, and I'll speak on one more positive, and then we'll kind of obviously I'll get critical with the offense. But I will say the running backs as well. There isn't a Marshawn Lloyd on this roster, in my opinion. But I think with the guys you have on this roster, with Kevin Harris, with Deshaun Fenwick, with Zaquandre White, I think you have enough there to be productive in the backfield. I really, really do. I think you have enough. I liked, again, what you're going to get out of Harris. A big body, physical guy. He had the touchdown. I really liked the burst that I saw from Zaquandre White, a guy that, like we heard, runs really, really hard. I saw some nice bursts from him as well. And then Deshaun Fenwick had some really nice plays. Kevin Harris, 13 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. Again, nothing crazy. And again, the running game didn't produce not all or most of it, I would say, even on the running back shoulders. It was on the offensive line. I mean, we know the offensive line struggled Saturday night. But Kevin Harris, 13 for 55 and a touchdown. Deshaun Fenwick, 6 for 31. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. Again, Zaquandre White, 7 for 19, but he did have some nice runs in there as well. But I think you have enough. So, again, there are positives to draw from this game offensively. Again, you scored 27 points against – I don't think Tennessee is a juggernaut. I really, really don't. I don't think they're a juggernaut, but they've got a solid defense. There's no question. Again, I like what I saw from Colin Hill. I like what I saw from Shi Smith, obviously, extremely explosive on the outside. And I think there's enough at the running back position to be productive. Again, you might not be explosive. You might not be, again, like I said before, must-watch TV or SportsCenter top 10. But I think you have enough there to be productive, to have a three-headed monster of some type where, you can get enough out of your running backs from that position. There's talent there. Let's put it that way. There's talent at the running back position. Now, the thing that kills me is, and I hate it, I hate being right. I'll tell you this. I hate being right because all of the fears and the concerns that we had about this offense going in this game basically were realized. They were realized Saturday night. Again, Colin, a positive, no question. But the guys around him, I mean, you take a look. You take a look at the weapons around Colin. Again, Shi Smith, fantastic night, 10 catches. Next leading receiver, Leggett, maybe I think can be a solid 2 option. 4 catches, 61 yards. Outside of that, guys, a receiver, a true receiver, did not touch the football. Think about that. A true receiver did not touch the football. Yes, Nick Muse, 4 catches for 50 yards. He's a tight end. Okay? Your fourth leading receiver, Deshaun Fenwick, 4 catches for 45 yards. So there's a serious lack of weapons on this offense. Again, it was like realizing our fears in real life. You're going to have to, as this season goes along week by week, you got to find out who your weapons are. I mean, I'm very surprised we didn't see Dak Joyner touch the football. I'm very surprised we didn't even see Luke Doty on the field at all. And there were some opportunities. You know, Josh Vann was wide open across the middle one time, and for whatever reason, Colin didn't get it to him. So, I mean, I guess there were other opportunities for these guys to make plays, but again, just like we said in the offseason, guys, there's just a lack of proven weapons and playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, the offensive line did not help. The running game being basically non-existent. I talked about it. I thought the running backs did fine. But when you run for 89 yards, it just can't happen. You can't run for 89 yards. You can't do it. You can't run for this team, the way this team is built, the way this offense is built. Colin Hill should not throw it 39 times. He threw it 20 times in the first half. That's not a recipe for success for this team. It's just not. It's not a recipe for success. So you take a look. Colin Hill was sacked 4 times, too. You only run the ball for 89 yards. 2.5 yards per carry. Offensive line's got to be better. This was supposed to be a strength on this football team. You got shoved around. And listen, I know Tennessee's strength as well is on their offensive and defensive lines. And I thought South Carolina held their own fairly well. You know, Tennessee ran it 33 times for 133 yards, 4 yards a carry. Ty Chandler with 13 for 86 and Eric Gray 12 for 40 and a touchdown. Nothing crazy, though. I would have taken that pregame, held him to 133 yards. But, you know, and especially the first half. Listen, I thought the O-line played a lot better in the second half, held their own at the point of attack, and I think South Carolina went to a much more quick passing game, which probably helped out the offensive line a lot. But when that's expected to be a strength on your offense, and again, you have so many question marks to be answered, and you're trying to find these playmakers and find out, you know, who's going to make plays for us. The last thing this team needs, this offense needs, is its offensive line to be a problem, because you're basically going to eliminate any chance of offensive success if the offensive line is a weakness. You are. So I don't understand what happened to the offensive line. Again, you got to be able to run the football better. Moving forward, you have to be able to run the football better. 89 yards, it's not going to get it done. This team is not built to throw it around like that. You've got to be able to establish some sort of running game. And, dude, honestly, copy-paste what I just said for the eternity of Carolina football. The best teams in Gamecock history have ran the football effectively. The teams that weren't so great, they couldn't run the ball. And that's a given. We get that. That's a given. I'm not saying anything you guys didn't already know. And so what happens is, especially we saw this in the first half, because, again, you scored 20 points in the second half. I was very impressed. But when you can't run the football, and South Carolina made a ton of mistakes on Saturday night, offensive, defensively, special teams, whatever. But offensively, when you can't run the football, you're playing behind the sticks. And I talked about this before the game. This team's not good enough to do so. You're playing behind the sticks. You're getting in these 3rd and longs. This team is not good enough to play from behind the sticks. This team's not good enough to play from 3rd and 7 or longer. This team has to be able to get in 3rd and 4 shorters, 3rd and 3s, to where you can kind of open up the playbook and say, hey, we could run it here, we could throw it, we can get creative, whatever. But I think that should be a point of emphasis for this team moving forward, winning first down. Because how many times did we see Saturday night? Times where a penalty or just a bad play on first down. Now you're in 2nd and 15. You have no chance. You almost have no chance. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. So you got to be better on first down. You're just not good enough to be in 3rd and long all game. And credit to South Carolina for, let's see here. I'm looking at the stats right now. Because the Gamecocks actually were not terrible on 3rd down. Third down efficiently. South Carolina 6 for 15. It's not great, but it's not awful because, hell, defensively you held Tennessee 1 for 12. So 6 for 15 is not terrible. But again, this team's just not good enough to play from behind the sticks. You got to win on first down. And that a lot of that goes back to running the football. When you can't run the football, it's hard to win those early downs. It's hard to get yourself in those third and shorts, especially when, you're leaning on a Carolina passing game that, again, outside of Shi Smith. And, maybe Xavier Legette's going to turn to that reliable 2 option. I certainly hope so. And I told you guys I think Legette is going to blow up this year. I certainly hope so. But you're relying on a passing game that just simply does not have weapons on the outside like you would like them to. You got to be able to run the football. Again, I already talked about offensive line. Just a tale of 2 halves. Has to get better. Will there be a shakeup? Will Eric Wolford mix things up? I don't know. But at times, South Carolina's offensive line just got abused. And at times, Tennessee's defensive front was just more physical. They wanted it more. They were just the more physical team at the point of attack. Bottom line. I will say, wrapping up the offense, I thought the play calling from Bobo was solid. I don't think it was great, but I'll tell you this, though. The opening series of the game, one of the best offensive series I've seen from Carolina in a while, a long time. I don't know that I can put a specific date on it, but it's been a long time since we've opened a game and seen a South Carolina offense just methodically move down the field. That was a thing of beauty. Again, it's tough to call plays when your offensive line is not blocking. So it's tough for me to say that, either Mike Bobo did a fantastic job or a poor job. I think he did a fair enough job. He did a good enough job to win the football game, I think. So, again, Mike Bobo and Mike Bobo and Colin Hill both get a passing grade for me in their first game with the Gamecocks. Now, moving to the defensive side of the ball. And listen, I was critical of the defense immediately after last night's game. And I do want to say this. Yes, I am very concerned about the defense. Trying to find positives from the defense. I liked what I saw from J.J. Nigbare, Aaron Sterling, Brad Johnson, even Zach Pickens. Jordan Birch made a nice play. Ernest Jones continues to fly around the field. J.C. Horn has his side of the field just completely locked down. Hell, there was a while I didn't even know if J.C. was playing in the game last night because he takes his man out of it so much. They never throw towards him, ever. So, you want to look at some positive, there's some positives for you. But I do want to say this, immediately after the game last night, I said I pinned this loss on the defense. And I do put a lot of blame on them. I thought in the first half they kept South Carolina in the football game. Second half, not so much. But the blame should be shared. Listen, offensively, defensively, special teams, coaching, everyone shares the blame in this one. So I want to make that clear. I want to point that out because, again, I was hard on the defense last night. I'm still tough on them, but I don't want to make it sound like it's just, oh, my God, it's the defense's fault we lost. Everybody shares blame. But, guys, I said this last night, and I've said it on social media, and I'll say it again to you here on this Monday show. I told you guys, because the big offseason story was Mike Bobo and Colin Hill and the offense. Can he get the offense figured out? And I told you guys, listen, when you hired Will Muschamp, you knew the offense would be somewhat of a struggle. You knew it. You just knew it would be somewhat of a struggle. But what you felt like was the known was hiring Muschamp. You're going to have a defense that's one of the better defenses in the league. They're going to keep you in games, and they're going to win some ball games for you. And I told you guys it would be a bigger indictment on Will Muschamp, in my personal opinion, in year 5 if the defense didn't take a jump from being middle of the pack to above average. Like if the defense was average yet again in 2020, that to me is a bigger indictment on Will Muschamp than the offensive stuff because, again, you knew what you were getting in Muschamp. You know the offenses are going to be average, but he's a defensive guy. That is literally his niche. That is literally his MO. As a guy who has elite defenses, who coaches top defenses, that is him. And to see what we saw from the defense in year 5 of the Will Muschamp era, it's just baffling. It's baffling. It's maddening. It's maddening that you scored 27 points. The offense, I think, actually did their job last night. and you still couldn't win the football game. And yes, listen, I want to say this too. I know 7 points of it was on the offense, the pick six. It was on the offense, no question. 100% you're correct, because I've seen some people on social media, oh, well, Chris, like, offense scored 27. The defense only gave up 24. So, I mean, what are you talking about? Guys, the pick six happened in the first quarter, or maybe it was the beginning of the second quarter. Either way, that pick six happened early on in the game. Okay? Happened early on in the game. You need your defense in the second half of games to win. You need them to play well. You open up the second half. Tennessee just marches right down the field and shoves it up your ass. Marches right down the field. You know, when you need stops, you can't get them. Making silly penalties, silly plays. You know, again, I'm not trying to say it was complete negative because, again, it was a mixed bag, I would say. There were some positives, but there's just a lot of glaring issues. Lots of glaring issues. What did I tell you guys before the game? The team that won the turnover margin was going to win the football game. Bottom line. South Carolina turns it over twice. Tennessee was 0. Boom. There's your ball game. And I think we can all agree those 2 turnovers were massive plays in the game. One was a pick six. The other was a fumble off Cam Smith's leg that you don't get the opportunity to try to go win the football game. Both huge plays in the game. You know, again, South Carolina's defense unable to create any type of turnovers, any type of big plays. You know, you let Jarrett Garantano, who I don't think anybody here thinks he's a great quarterback by any stretch. Very inconsistent, whatever. 19 for 31, 259 yards and a touchdown. Again, I'll say this. I've been tough on JC and Izzy before. I thought they played fine. JC and Izzy, especially JC, completely locked down his side of the field. Again, I know Israel McQuamu dealt with the groin injury, which I'm sure we're going to find out very soon what his status will be. Hope to God he's back for the Florida game because you're going to need him. But, man, the South Carolina secondary outside of J.C. Horner, Israel McQuamu is painful to watch. It's painful to watch. I mean, guys, you know what one of my biggest fears is? And I'm just going to say this, and I don't care how people take it. One of my biggest fears, I was very high on Jamie Robinson coming into this season. And Jamie might have a fantastic year. Don't get me wrong. But I was scared because Jamie Robinson, I was thinking to myself, you know who he reminds me a lot of his freshman year? Jamias Williams. And the way Jamie Robinson got picked on, I mean, flat out picked on by Jarrett Garantano in Tennessee, it was very eerily similar to the way we saw Jamias Williams get picked on later in his career. But just the secondary as a whole, outside of J.C. Horner, Israel McQuamu. I mean, again, guys, it is year 5 of Will Muschamp. And like I said, the defense gave up 24 points. 7 of those were offensive. Seven of the 31 were on the offense, the pick six. But you have a chance to win a football game. You have a chance to win a football game at home. And your defense just simply did not get you enough stops. Bottom line, just did not get you enough stops. Again, you let them open up the second half and just shove it down your throat. Like, had nothing to say about it. Let them shove it down your throat. Coverage breakdowns abound in the passing game. You know, again, I thought South Carolina, at least if nothing else, held their own in the rushing game. 33 carries for 133 yards, 4 yards a carry. Like I said, I'd have taken that probably in pregame. I would have taken that. But the defensive miscues, the breakdowns, it just, again, to me, it's such an indictment on Muschamp. Again, being a defensive guy, like if you have an elite defense, if your defense is above average, you win that game last night. Your defense gets those stops where your defense is able to force a turnover. Because, guys, you can sit here till you're blue in the face and preach to me about all the talent on D, and I believe there is talent. I feel bad for these players. I do. Because I think there is talent on the defense. I mean, look at the guys. When you look at the starting lineup, and you just look at guys that are on the field. I mean, you're going 4-star, 4-star, 5-star, 5-star, 4-star. Like, these are highly regarded prospects. So what is it? What's the disconnect? How can this defense not be better than it is? You know, again, not all negative. It was a mixed bag. I saw some things I did like. I really love J.J. Enagbari's game. I love Aaron Sterling's game. I love those two guys. I thought Pickens held his own inside. You know, Ernest Jones, again, continues to fly around. JC's a beast. We get that. But, you know, again, you score 27, you got to win the game. You just do. You have to win the football game. You got to be able to get stops late in games. And, hey, credit to South Carolina's defense, I'll say this. They got the stop to get the ball back. I'll give them credit. They got to stop to get the ball back. But it's just got to be better, man. Because, again, I don't look at Tennessee as some offensive juggernaut. I really don't. And, again, you're letting a guy like Jarrett Garantano throw it all over you? What's going to happen when you face Kyle Trask next week? What is that going to be like? So, again, it's just baffling to me, guys, how in year 5, defense we're still seeing the same problems we've seen over the first 4 years on defense. We're still seeing the same issues. And I just don't understand how that can be. I mean, I feel like you've recruited good players on that side of the ball. Again, I think it's just a major indictment on Will Muschamp. Maybe I should start saying fire T-Rob. Honestly. Say fire T-Rob too. I mean, the defense just continues to underwhelm and underachieve. That's really the best way to put it. And again, we've got a long season. Who knows? Maybe they'll turn it around and they'll surprise me. I mean, who knows? But just from seeing that first game, it feels like we're on pace for another very pedestrian average year from the South Carolina defense. And again, I've seen people and talk, Chris, they didn't really hit in fall practice. Or, dude, everybody's having to play the same game, man. Like, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. You know who excuses are for? They're for losers. That's who makes excuses. Losers. Losers make excuses. Get better. Just play better. Get better. You have the talent, I feel like, right? Get better. Tennessee's not some offensive juggernaut. It's not going to get any easier when you're taking on a Florida team that just scored 50 on Ole Miss. It won't get easier taking on Auburn with Bo Nix. Hell, I know LSU lost, but it won't get easier taking on Miles Brennan and that LSU team. Defense has got to figure it out, man. Figure it out quick. Again, it's year 5 of Will Muschamp. The fact this defense is still underwhelming, it just blows my mind. Again, major indictment on Muschamp, in my opinion. Let's move into special teams really quick, and I'll give my overall thoughts, guys. I'm going to keep it short and sweet with special teams. Oof. Just oof. I mean, there are many explicitives I could put in front of that, but oof. I mean, and I want to say this too, because the first thing many of you will jump to is Cam Smith on the punt return. And I want to say this, guys. I made the point on social media that, I just pointed out, listen, it hadn't been a great night for Cam Smith. And it wasn't. It wasn't. Let's just call a spade a spade. It wasn't. Cam Smith wouldn't say he had a great night. No human being with two eyes that watched the game would say Cam Smith had a great night. But Cam Smith is not the reason. He's not the sole reason South Carolina lost that football game. He's not. He's not. He's not the sole reason they lost that football game. So I just want to throw that out there because I know a lot of people want to go after the kid. And, there's nobody that feels worse about that play than Cam Smith does. So I want to defend Cam Smith a little bit. I mean, listen, you got to be better. Everybody in that situation's got to be better. I know Jamie was yelling, but, I mean, there were things in special teams Saturday night that were just baffling. And the most ironic part is Will Muschamp spent the entire offseason, the entire fall camp, telling us, oh, yeah, we're practicing special teams. We're focused on special teams. We just, I've seen a lot of teams struggling on special teams with their kicking game. We're going to make sure we got that nailed down. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure we got it taken care of. And special teams was atrocious. It was atrocious Saturday night. It was terrible. Jamie Robinson Just the little things. Jamie Robinson fair catching the ball, catching it at the 4. You're not coached to do that. Like little stuff like that. You know, the punting game. I mean, listen, I don't want to go after Kai Kruger. I think Kai Kruger will be a fantastic punter. Maybe he just had the first game jitters, but averaging 35 yards a punt, again, I told you guys with these punters, it's a weapon to flip the field. It is. It's a big deal. Tennessee had some great starting field position last night. So that was a major issue. I will say on a positive, Parker White, salute, sir. Continue to do what you're doing. He nailed both those field goals right down the middle. Nailed them. So proud of the way Parker White played. Proud of the way he kicked. I mean, again, those were 2 beautiful kicks. But, I mean, damn, special teams. I mean, my God. Again, with Muschamp talking all offseason, all fall camp about, oh, yeah, we've been working on this and that. We're going to have special teams buttoned up. Like, yeah, sure. Sure you are. Just in closing, guys, my overall thoughts on everything. Again, just to kind of wrap up and take a look at this thing from a whole. You know, I do want to say one thing really quickly, and I can't believe, you guys are probably like, oh, my God, you're going to be shocked that I'm going to defend Will Muschamp because I know Muschamp caught a lot of flack and a lot of heat for that decision to kick the field goal with about 4 minutes left, whatever it was, just under 4 minutes. Personally, guys, I thought it was the right call. I really did. I mean, listen, you're in a 4th and long situation. You're in a 4th and long. You're probably not going to get it, okay? You're 4th and 10. You're not going to get that probably. Odds are not good, okay? So you're in a 4th and long situation. You got about 4 minutes left in the game. You have all 3 timeouts. You've drove all the way down the field. It's a 7-point game now. And again, I understand many of you saying, I mean, I wouldn't have really had a problem either way. I guess I really wouldn't have had a problem either way. But if you truly do believe in your defense, which you should, I mean, like I said, I think the defense should be good. If you truly do believe in your defense, I just think to go for it and not get it there and still be down 7 would have been much more demoralizing than saying, you know what, we're going to kick the field goal. We have 3 timeouts in our pocket. We trust our defense to go get a stop, and we're going to use our timeouts. And we're going to give our offense the ball back with a chance to go win the football game. Because, hey, obviously it's much different in college than NFL because you get a first down, the clock stops. NFL, you don't have that luxury. If you use all your timeouts, you're kind of screwed. So I'll be honest with you. I mean, I wasn't irate over that decision. Now, I can understand why people would be because it's so on brand for Will Muschamp. It just feels like a very conservative move. It feels like a very, very conservative move. I didn't hate it, though. Believe it or not, I really did not hate it. I understood the thought process. And by the way, guys, it worked. You were going to get the ball back with like a minute and a half. I mean, were the odds great you went down and scored? No. But you still had a chance to go win the game. You would have. But, and you know, I don't think if you're for the faint, if you're sensitive, I don't think you probably listen to this podcast. I mean, this show's not for the faint of heart. I call it like it is. I'm willing to say things that people aren't willing to say. You're not going to hear the boys over at GCC and TBS and the State, any other outlet you can think of that talk Gamecocks. You're not going to, or any of the other small ones. You're not going to hear them say the things that I'm willing to say. You're not going to hear them be critical and just to be honest. Really, just be honest about everything. But here's the thing, and I said this on social media, I'll say it again here to you guys. You're not going to hear me like – it's not going to be like last year in the sense that you're not going to hear me rant and rave every single game about, oh, fire Will Muschamp. I'm not going to start every piece of content after South Carolina loses a game with fire Will Muschamp. Because, guys, at this point, again, the energy has been the same for me since the clock hit zeros in Charlotte, North Carolina last year. Been the exact same. Nothing has changed on my end. Energy is exactly the same. And again, I'm not going to harp on it and I'm not going to basically beat a dead horse because that's what it is at this point. I mean, fire Will Muschamp, that's common sense at this point. That feels like that's something that should be common knowledge. The fact South Carolina needs a change at the head coaching position, it's common knowledge. It's common knowledge. And at this point, if you're, listen, if you want to believe Muschamp's going to be the guy, maybe he is. Maybe we're going to win the next 9. I'll say the same thing I said last year. Maybe we reel off 9 wins in a row. And he shoves it up my ass, and all of his doubters, he proves everyone wrong. And he turns out to be this fantastic football coach. Fine, great. I hope that happens. But at this point, man, still, if you're one of these people that, like, you're riding his jock and you have to attack everyone who's got a negative thing to say about Will Muschamp, you're either on his payroll, you are just blindly loyal and cannot take off your garnet glasses for anything, or you're just plain stupid. I don't know what else to tell you. You're ignorant. Like, if you get upset about it. It's fire Will Muschamp until further notice. Again, it wasn't the lead topic to start this show because I'm just not going to beat a dead horse. I don't feel like saying the same thing over and over and over and over every single time we lose a game because that'll probably be a lot this year. I picked 3-7. We all knew it was going to be a long year. We're well on our way to that. You're staring 1-4 right in the face. Bottom line, you're staring 1-4 right in the face. And you can say whatever you want about, LSU didn't look great or Auburn didn't look. Be realistic. LSU lost to a team that threw for 623 yards. We ain't going to throw for 623 yards. LSU will be fine. Auburn beat the dog shit out of Kentucky. So, I don't know. I think Auburn's pretty damn good, probably. Florida's Florida. You're a 3-touchdown underdog for a reason. But, this game was so typical of a Will Muschamp coach football team. And it was really just typical Carolina football, I guess. Again, I don't want to be completely negative. There were positives to draw from the offense. There were. There were positives to draw from the offense. I already talked about Colin Hill, Shi Smith. I think you got some capable bodies at running back. The offensive line did play better in the second half than defensively. I think this defense is still talented. I really do. But as a whole, just overall, when you look at this game, South Carolina simply made too many mistakes to win a football game of this caliber. Too many small mistakes, small errors. And they made mistakes you simply cannot make and win a football game of this caliber. You can't throw a pick six. You can't get an unsportsmanlike conduct 15-yard penalty when you get a stop on 3rd down. You can't field a punt inside the 4-yard line. You can't have a punt hit off of your leg. You can't get down in the red zone and have a false start that pretty much derails a drive. You can't do these things. You can't do it. And South Carolina is not a good enough football team to overcome these type of mistakes. They're not good enough to overcome the small mistakes. Again, defense has got to be better. Defense is a major issue. I'll be interested to see what types of shakeups they have as far as going into week 2 because, listen, Florida's going to be a task for this defense. And I think there will be some shakeups. I'd be shocked if there aren't. And then obviously, like I said, you've got to be better on the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively, I would say. Even though I think, again, the defensive front held their own. Got to be better. You got to be better on the line of scrimmage, especially offensively. I don't think South Carolina will win a football game that don't run for 100 yards in. I'm just going to go out there and throw that on a limb, and say that. Maybe we'll see if I'm right at the end of the year. South Carolina will not win a football game that does not rush for over 100 yards in. You got to be able to run the football. You have to. You just have to. But overall, I feel for the players. I think they played their asses off. They played their tails off. This game was just so typical. I honestly, after the game, I felt, obviously I was upset, but I felt numb to an extent. My best friend is a Falcons fan. And I want to give you guys this example, this parallel. My best friend's a Falcons fan. And I watched the Falcons-Cowboys game with him 2 weeks ago, okay? And I know you guys are all familiar with that game and all that stuff, whatever, what happened, the comeback, all that good stuff. And the Falcons just blowing a huge lead and just a devastating, demoralizing loss, okay? And I asked him after they lost, he was very calm, right? And I was like, how are you so calm? Like, I feel like I would be just outraged. I'd be demoralized. Like, I'd have so much emotion going on. And he said, Chris, because he was at the Super Bowl in person, the one the Falcons 28-3 game. He was there. And again, this is a diehard season ticket holder, invests a lot of money in the football team, invests a lot of money in the organization. He said, Chris, when you've been through what I've been through and you've had the heartbreak to the level that I've had it, you can't hurt me anymore. I'm already broken. Like, it's just you can't. How much worse can it get? I've been to the lowest point possible. And that's kind of how I felt Saturday night. I was numb in the sense of, it's just par for the course. It's par for the course under Will Muschamp. And again, love him or hate him, whatever you feel on Will Muschamp, you feel like it's bad luck. You feel because we're just this and we'd have won, or this and this, or whatever. That's the story, though, for the Will Muschamp tenure. That's the story for Will Muschamp as a head football coach. It's always a few little things here or there. It's always a few miscues or a few things that went differently, you'd have won. It's just so the way that game went, the way that game ended, the fashion in which South Carolina lost. It's just so typical. I mean, it's so typical for the Will Muschamp tenure. I mean, again, you had a major, major opportunity Saturday night on the national stage. The world was watching you to get off to a good start, get off to being 1-0, wash out the nasty taste from 4-8 a year ago. And you just couldn't get the job done. Plain and simple. And if you want to make excuses and go back and forth, totally fine. Like I said, I think losers make excuses. Winners just find a way to get the job done. And, bottom line is you didn't get the job done. You had the opportunity. It was sitting right there for you, and you did not get the job done. Another big-time stage, an opportunity to get a big win, and in typical Will Muschamp coach teams fashion, they fall flat on their face. So, again, it's a weird feeling because I do think there are some positives to take away from this game, especially offensively. But the bottom line is you didn't get the job done. And, where do you go from here? It only gets tougher from this point out. It's like I told you guys. I think 5-5 should be the minimum expectation. And I think I said there's a path to 5. There's a path to 6. Hell, you want to get crazy, maybe a path to 7. But this Tennessee game was one of those you had to have. If you were going to get to 5, this was one of those swing games. This is one of those swing games you simply have to have. So it only gets tougher. Again, Florida, hell, Vandy gave Texas A&M trouble. But Florida, Auburn, LSU, A&M, I mean, it's only going to get tougher, man. So we'll see how it goes. They do say that teams make their biggest jump from week 1 to week 2 as far as improvement, as far as taking strides. I guess we'll see if that's the case this year. But, I'm close to the point of apathy, really. And I saw a lot of people talking about that on social media. It's just a damn shame. It really is. And I'm going to play these voicemails here in just a second. And you can just hear the frustration, the pain, the voices of the fans. It's just a damn shame, man. And it's like I told you guys after the season last year. At least when things weren't going great under Lou Holtz or Steve Spurrier, you had that glimmer of hope. Like, hey, these are Hall of Fame coaches. They've won national titles before. They won SEC titles. If anybody can do it, they can do it. You had hope. You had a reason to be hopeful. I just really don't feel that anymore with Will Muschamp as the head coach. Like, I don't see anything changing. For as long as he's here, this will be the storyline. This will be how things go. And it's like Connor O'Gara told me in the offseason. We're in college football hell right now. South Carolina is in college football hell. I mean, again, some of you might hate me for saying it. If that's the case, that's totally fine. Whatever. At this point, the best case scenario might be going 0-10 and getting Will Muschamp canned. I mean, it really might. What do you achieve if you go 3-7? Really? What positive comes out of the year if you go 3-7? What positive comes out of the year if you go 2-8? I mean, Come on. It's just not going to change. And again, those of you, I said this a few weeks ago, those of you who believe it's going to change and believe that Muschamp's all of a sudden going to evolve into some great head coach, going to evolve into a championship caliber coach, you are the one with the bold take. You are the one with really just the crazy take. Saying Will Muschamp's not going to get the job done, that's not going out on a limb. He never has. In his now going into his 9th year as a head coach. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm not banking on it. So, again, you got to make a big jump week 1 to week 2. We all know what lies ahead in Florida, but, I mean, just tough pill to swallow. I mean, what can you really say? Another big-time opportunity squandered. And it's just unfortunate. I feel for the fans. I feel for the players. Yeah. Just brutal. So, all right, let's get into news and notes because I want to go ahead and get to the questions and voicemails. We got a ton of those to get into. News and notes. New uniform pick dropped on Friday, the white uniform. I'm sure they're going to wear those this weekend at Florida, so I'm sure we'll get a glimpse at them. But, yeah, I don't know why they didn't just do one big uniform release video, but it is what it is. I mentioned earlier also South Carolina, a 20.5-point underdog at Florida. I mean, it's a huge spread, but are any of us, I guess, really surprised? I mean, again, it's a huge spread. Are any of us really surprised? Also, last thing, I will say this. The Muschamp video that was leaked on Saturday, how this gets leaked out, I have no idea. But in case you missed it, Muschamp basically dropping the F-bomb. There's no way you missed it. I mean, it's got like 200,000 views on Twitter. Just phenomenal stuff. Just phenomenal stuff. Legendary stuff. How it gets out, I don't know. I'm sure the person that dropped it will probably maybe lose their job. Hopefully they don't, because I thought it was funny. I will genuinely say I thought it was really, really funny. So, all right, like I said, I want to go ahead and dive in these voicemails because there are a good bit of them, and I want to get them all on the air. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
What is your take on Colin Hill, and do you think Ryan will have any kind of playing time?
All right. Thank you for the voicemail. That was a quick one. Again, I like Colin Hill. I thought Colin played well Saturday. I thought he played well to win the football game. And listen, if I told you pregame that he was going to throw for 290 yards, you'd have taken it. I mean, there's just no question. So I like the game from Colin. I think Saturday just only confirmed why he's a starter. I mean, he looked very much in control. He looked in command. He looked like a veteran guy out there. He's got a lot of zip on his ball. Dude can spin it. I told you, dude can spin it. Dude can spin it. So I liked what I saw from Colin Hill, and I'll just be honest with you guys again because a lot of people are asking about Ryan Helinski. And listen, I know we're all pulling for Ryan Helinski and all that stuff, but guys, I genuinely think unless Colin Hill gets injured, which God forbid that happens, unless he gets injured or he's just playing horrific football, I don't think Ryan Helinski is going to see the field. I really don't. Probably any point this season. I mean, they're not just going to put Ryan in for the sake of it. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that. So, I think if you see Colin continue to play the way he did last night and he stays healthy, you won't see Ryan touch the field this year. So, it is what it is.
I'm just going to say this right now. I'm seeing I don't see us winning many games in the SEC, at all. Offensive line is not, isn't where it should be. We were really only carried by our defense in this game, and it showed. So, man, I feel like Muschamp might as well just pack up his bags. It's not. I know it's the first game, but when you're looking at a decently capable MSU, you're looking at LSU, Auburn, Florida, Alabama. It's just you're not going to win many games. I think the only game you might pick up is maybe Ole Miss and Mizzou, but just it's not. I don't see it. I just don't see us winning those games.
Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew again it's going to be a rough year. The offensive line's a major concern because again, that was supposed to be a strength for your football team, and the fact that is such a problem. Yeah, I mean that's a major concern. So they got to get that shored up because, again, as good as the offense was, or as many positives as we can pull from the offense, it's going to be a long year for that offense if the offensive line is not get better. Because, guys, teams are going to key in on Shi Smith. I mean, the defenses are not just going to keep letting us force feed Shi Smith. So, defenses are going to key in on him, and you got to find a running game. You have to. This team is not going to win many football games, really at all, if they cannot run the football effectively.
Hey, Chris, Garrett here. First off, love the Gamecocks. Win or lose, but shit, what happened tonight, man? I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you, man. Actually, I could tell you. Will freaking Muschamp. That's what our problem is. I love him, but I hate him at the same time. We need a good coach that's going to give us the points. We need offense. We need defense. We need it all. We got the players. Why don't we have the talent out there on the field? Why are we giving up so much? You know what I'm saying? Either way, love the Spurs Up show. Go Cox, baby. Yes, sir.
Hey, Garrett, appreciate the voicemail, man. Appreciate the love. And I think that's definitely the frustrating thing. And for fans, for me, I mean, I feel like we have good players. I really do feel like we have good players. Why are we not getting the most out of them, especially defensively? I mean, it's bad. You guys tell me. I'd love to hear from the people that what's missing. What's missing from this football team? Answer me that. Riddle me that. Like I've seen, obviously, again, I see the interaction on social media. I banter every now and then. I actually banter a lot more than I normally do on game weekends. But people, they don't want to blame the players because, they're trying their hardest. And I get that. The guys are not trying to screw up. They're trying their hardest. So you don't want to blame the players. But then people don't want to blame the coaches. Like, did Muschamp throw that pick six? Or did Muschamp do this? Then who do you want to blame? Who do you want to put the blame on? Should we just say it's a free pass? Like, no, we won't blame anybody. It just happens. So it is what it is. Who should the blame be placed on, guys? What's South Carolina missing? What is South Carolina lacking that's holding them back? Are our players just not good enough? Is our coaching not good? I mean, you got to pin it on something. You have to pin it on something, okay? Pick a side, because I'm not going to go after the players. I think we have good players. That's why I feel for them. I feel for the players. I really do. Pick a side, man. I mean, who's to blame? You want to give them a free pass?
Hey, what's up, Chris? Man, thoughts on the game tonight? Honestly, year 5 secondary defense still looks atrocious. Colin Hill played fantastic. I thought as best as he could play with the offense and what it was giving him. Offensive line just needs to touch up. They seem to come out and play better in the second half. And then, man, I mean, nothing against Cam Smith, but, man, Cam, he probably shouldn't see the field until he sees a little more growth and production, Just a few things to work on. I mean, I was surprised by the score and how close we kept it, but all I can do is prepare for next week. So go Gamecocks.
My guy, appreciate the voicemail. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the secondary play. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, you like JC, you like Izzy, but, man, outside of that, it is rough. I mean, it is very, very rough. And, hey, as long as they can expose us with the other guys, they're not going to go JC's way. They're not going to go JC's way if they don't have to. They'll continue to go to other guys. Jamie got picked on. Cam Smith, obviously, we know how rough his night was. Roderick was okay. Jalen Dickerson was okay. But as a whole, again, secondary looked just like it did last year, honestly. Extremely average. So, no, man, I definitely get your frustration. And, with the whole Cam Smith thing, again, I don't pin the loss on him. I mean, he had a night to forget, though. Let's just call it what it is. He had a night to forget. I think he's a talented player. There's no question. I mean, he was a highly regarded prospect, but he had a tough night. And all you can hope is he learns from it, bounces back, uses it as fuel to the fire. But, yeah, I mean, it's baffling to see the defensive miscues in year 5 of Will Muschamp. It's just truly baffling. Now, This voicemail, guys, and I don't normally play these, it is not safe for work. There are a lot of explicitives, but I just want you guys to hear the emotion from this Carolina fan. I want you guys to hear this. So if there's any kids in the room, cover your ears. There's F-bombs in this. But I really want you guys to hear this emotion coming from this fan. So here we go.
Yeah. Fuck Will Muschamp. This man cannot call a game for jack shit. I'm tired of fucking losing to everybody in the SEC except for fucking Vanderbilt. I mean, this is getting fucking ridiculous. We are staring 1-4 like you tweeted out in the fucking face. I'd be surprised if we fucking win 2 games this fucking year. Fire Will Muschamp. Fuck him.
There you go. Appreciate the call, and that's where Will Muschamp has brought this fan base to those type of levels.
I am hurt. I am in a tough spot, physically, mentally, and especially emotionally. I was in doubt all game. Cam Smith muffing the punt. Oh my God, this is what it's like being a Gamecock fan, huh? This is it. This is what it's like. I look into the future and the rest of the season. I see that we play Florida next week. They scored 55 today. 55. When was the last time Florida scored 55 points? They're going to score 70 next week. Oh, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the answer is.
Just pure emotion again. I mean, it's just, what can you say, man? Hurting. Gamecock fans are hurting.
Chris, man, I'm hurt, dude. I'm hurt. I'm sick and tired.
Yep. I mean, just here's a very interesting voicemail. Here you go.
Hey, Chris. I have a few questions about how you felt about the game tonight. First off, why the hell did we pay over $1 million for a damn cock statue outside of our stadium, but we don't have damn working ribbon boards, and our damn scoreboard has lights out in the damn scoreboard? Like, I want to know what you feel about that. All right, thanks. Bye.
My guy, appreciate the call. That is a Ray Tanner issue, but I mean, yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's not. What do you want me to say? It's a blunder. It's not good. It's not good.
Hey, Chris, what's up? Wanted to call in and had to comment on the game. So this was a brutal way to lose last night, especially considering the offense did a lot of good things, especially in the second half. But this team just cannot overcome the mistakes they made last night. They're not good enough for it. They don't play good situational football. Not at all. The 3rd and 1, handed it to Shi Smith on that sweep. I really like the call. He's got to know where the sticks are. He's got to stretch out for that first down and get it. And Barre gets that stop on 3rd down. I think it was in the 3rd quarter, and then immediately gets a 15-yard penalty for trash talking. Got to have better poise in that situation. Leggett makes that really nice catch to put us, I think, in the red zone when we had to kick that field goal. Follows it up with getting a false start. Jumps too early. You got to have composure there. You got to have poise. Like I said, we're not good enough to overcome the mistakes that we made last night. We're not good at situational football. I feel that's a coaching issue. I always have. That's the Will Muschamp way. I feel like once he's done here, they should write a book, 1,000 mind-numbing ways to lose a football game, sponsored by Will Muschamp. It's out.
Oh, my bad.
We're going to say, if we just made this play, we just made this catch, that's been the MO of the Will Muschamp era. It's always going to be, if we had just done this, if Nick Muse makes that catch. Tennessee's receiver made that one-handed catch earlier. Good players make those kind of plays. It just is what it is. But the thing is that the schedule ramps up now. We got to turn this around really fast, correct these mistakes, and I just don't see it. The schedule just gets monumentally harder. So we'll see where it's at. Looking forward to the show Monday and throughout the week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Tim, appreciate the voicemail as always, man. Always great talking with you. Obviously, a ton of great points. And I say this, man. People ask me, did Muschamp do this? Did Muschamp do that? Oh, the player had the unsportsmanlike, or the player did it. Will Muschamp is the head coach. He is the one, like you said, Tim. He's the one making $4 million plus a year to coach this football team. Everything that happens on that field, it falls back on him. That is the world of coaching. That is the profession. You get too much of the credit and you get too much of the blame. We all know that. But I agree with you. Just too many small mistakes. South Carolina made mistakes you cannot make and win a football game of that caliber, period, point blank. And you made that point, Tim. I agree. It's blunders that are self-inflicted, and that is the most frustrating part about it all. Self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted blunders. I mean, that's what kills you. That's what hurts to think about. So appreciate the voicemail, Tim. Great as always. We got one last voicemail, and I'll run through your listener questions, and we'll dive in this interview.
Hey, Chris. This is Jonathan from Greer, South Carolina. I got a chance to actually be at the game last night. First things first, I honestly, with the Weston fans, I honestly believe they were pumping in crowd noise. There's no way. At times it honestly seemed just loud as it usually is, so that made me believe they were pumping in crowd noise. But last night's game, obviously the 4-point loss, you can't really chalk it up to offense, defense, special teams. You look at, the offense, obviously the pick six kills you. But defensively, the secondary at times looked lost. They had no idea what they were doing picking up a running back out of the backfield. And even, at the end, you didn't really get a chance because of the punt and the fumble with Cam Smith. But the defense is trying to make a stop, get the ball back. You obviously know they're running. They run it right up the middle. Nobody's standing in the A gap. And, you give up 15, 20 yards and have to waste 2 timeouts. So then you're only having a minute and a half when you get the ball potentially to drive down the field to score a touchdown. And then really, you think about it, special teams put the defense in some bad spots, had some terrible kick coverage. Tennessee started close to the 50 a few times. Kai Kroger averaged 35 yards on punts. That's just not going to get it done. So, kind of overall, the whole team, I wouldn't put it on offense, defense, special teams. I think all of them contributed to it. I like the fight that the team showed, and there's potential there. But we'll see him go again this week at Florida. Thanks for the show. Bye.
Jonathan, appreciate the voicemail, man. Really good stuff. Yeah, man, you hit on a ton of great points, stuff I've already talked about. And I will say, I want to echo what you said. I'm proud of the way the team fought. I'm not putting this, I think the guys gave it their all. I really, really do. And I feel bad for the players. But again, you made mistakes that you can't make and win a football game like that, and win a football game of that magnitude. As far as the pumping in crowd noise, I wasn't in the building, so I have no idea. I heard it was loud. So, yeah, I heard it was loud. So, all right, let's run through these listener questions on Instagram. There's a ton of them. I'll run through them really, really fast, though, because I want to get in this interview. I know it's been a long show. Prosser, why do I have to be a Gamecock fan? Jeff Madison, 2327. Defense in year 5 of Muschamp era looks like this. Really shocked. Yeah, again, it's baffling. It's baffling. Hamp 4, I want to cry, but I should be used to this. Let's see. David Weaver, 98. Proud of the effort, but that is the most Carolina way to lose ever. Refs didn't help. Yeah, dude, SEC refs suck. Davis, 576. Holt, way too many non-calls. Jack Harrington, 4124. Honestly looked good, but pisses me off to lose a first-week rivalry game because of idiots. VS Russell, 1603. The refs need to get their shit together. So many missed holding and other calls. Yeah, again, there were some bad. There was one literally where Ernest Jones was bear hugged and they didn't call a holding. Just ridiculous. Let's see. There's a lot of questions that I just can't read, so or I will not read. So, U of SC _Cox. I am disappointed, but I say this game we played a lot better than the past couple years. I guess so. Let's see. James _Paul _Wagner. Dear Alabama, how do you have a good offense for more than 4 drives a game? Adam_Madison, why? Why does this happen to us? The moment we think something changes, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know, man. Carolina football. Just let's see. CP3_presents_. What was our weakest link, and do you think we can compete with Florida? Our weakest link was definitely the secondary, which it's baffling that I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm saying that. Can we compete with Florida? Can we? Maybe. Will we? No. I haven't given my score prediction yet, whatever. I haven't locked it in, but I think that's going to be a long day in Gainesville Saturday. Emerson Hill 04. Coaching could have been better in the second half. We barely threw the ball down the field a lot or at all. Not many options to go to, my man. Not many options. Harrison Rowan, Chris, where do we go from here? We look like the same old predictable offense. I mean, again, the schedule gets brutal. It gets tougher. I think the defense needs to be better. I think the offense, you can work with that. The defense has got to be better. Defense has got to be better. You've got to be able to get the ball off people. You've got to be able to force turnovers. That's just the bottom line. Let's see. Chase Miller, 098. Boys played hard. Proud of them. Wish defense would have stepped up. Pick six really hurt. I agree. Hunter Smith, 19_. Yeah, Hunter Smith, 19_. Second and third cornerback depth positions suck. Game was a coin flip no matter what they say. I think it was a coin flip for sure. Yeah, I mean, look at the scoreboard. I mean, it was definitely a coin flip. Yeah, again, the secondary play, it's baffling, to be honest. Joe Machea, the field goal with 3 to go was beyond USC dumb. I didn't think it was a horrid call. I understood it. If you think they should have went for it, you know, I agree. I can see that. I can see it, but I don't think that was overall the thing that cost us the game. But I get where you're coming from. Danny Anderson _11. Doty Joyner ? Also stick with a feature running back. A guy like 20 may get some mo going. Yeah, I was very surprised. You didn't even see Luke Doty on the field at all Saturday night, and then Dak Joyner not even touching the ball once. Again, you only had 2 receivers that even touched the football. So, you know, I'd like to see those guys get involved. As far as picking a feature running back, I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to rotate all 3 guys. God, here's a great question to close on. JB Gary _0630. Ryan Linsky comes in, started the second half. Do we pull out the win? Dude, come on. Really? No. There's nothing Ryan can do that he would have done that Colin didn't do. So let's just put that to bed, okay? Let's put it to rest. So, again, guys, appreciate the voicemails, appreciate the questions. Again, we're going to close up this show, getting the interview. Again, I know it's been a long one. This is just how it is during Game Way. Before we get into our interview, it is all brought to you by our friends at Southern Oaks Remodeling, guys. Southern Oaks Remodeling, locally and family-owned, over 15 years of experience. They specialize in roofing, windows, doors, siding, and additions, and they're serving the greater Columbia area, guys. Again, I've met these people. They are awesome. And when you're getting stuff done like this, remodeling, where it's very personal, they're coming in your home, obviously, you want to make sure they do a good job, but not just, you know, as far as the job they're doing for you, but the relationship you build with them. They take care of you like they're your family. Again, they're locally and family-owned. They have a ton of experience, but the way they treat their people, the way they treat their customers is what I truly believe sets them apart. Again, getting to know them, meeting them, talking to them, it's clear. You can the difference is evident. I'll say that. The difference is just evident with Southern Oaks Remodeling. So, again, if you're in the Columbia area and you need anything, roofing, windows, doors, siding, any type of projects you might have, any additions you want to do, Southern Oaks Remodeling is the way to go. Give them a call, again, especially if you are in the Columbia area, and tell them Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. So, again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Enjoy this interview with former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Sawyer Bridges. All right, joining us today on the Spurs Up Show, a man that played for Gamecocks baseball from 2017 to 2019. During his career, he threw 63 innings for the Gamecocks, went 4-2 with a 4.71 ERA, 61 strikeouts, and 6 saves. He also spent 2020 as a grad assistant on USC's coaching staff and is now coaching at a baseball academy over in Lexington, still in the local area. I'm very excited to have on former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Sawyer Bridges. Sawyer, appreciate you taking the time, man. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, man, enjoying it.
Absolutely. So I want to start from the beginning because, you know, I don't know what it is. The Somerville to South Carolina connection has been very, very good to South Carolina over the years. I think of you. I think of some of your other teammates. That has seemed to be a nice pipeline for the Gamecocks. But, again, you being an in-state guy, a local kid, just talk about your recruitment to South Carolina because, a lot of people, they don't really think about that in baseball, the recruiting starts so early on. It's so much different than football. I mean, you got guys that are committing as freshmen in high school. You know what I mean? So it starts so early. But just talk about, the recruiting process for you. Did you grow up a South Carolina fan? I mean, when did South Carolina come into the picture, and what made you choose to go to Carolina?
Yeah, so you talk about the Somerville kind of pipeline. So it was actually at one point I was committed to Clemson. TJ Hopkins played with him since I was young. He was committed to College Charleston. And then everybody thought Zach Bailey, who lived with me for a brief time, but we went to middle school together and then high school together. Everybody thought he was going to Clemson. And we all ended up figuring it out. I decommitted, TJ decommitted, Zach ended up deciding to go to South Carolina. So it was crazy, and that happened within a 1 year span. But yeah, my family was always South Carolina fans. My dad's side of the family, they were all Georgia people, so I had some interest in Georgia. Obviously, I committed to Clemson when I was young. They were the first to offer, so I don't know. I loved Coach Leggett, loved Coach LaCroix, and loved Coach Pepicelli. I actually saw him. He's the head coach at Cornell, so when we played them my senior year, I got to talk to him, so that was pretty cool. But yeah. So I'm trying to think the timeline. So I think I committed to Clemson going into my sophomore year, and then I decommitted my junior year. And that's when Coach Holbrook reached out, and we started talking, and just kind of fell in love with the place. My brother talked me into it as well, so it all ended up working out. But
how much easier did it make the decision when it's like you, TJ, Zach Bailey, you guys are all going to Carolina? How much easier did it make that decision since all your buddies basically are going to Carolina? It's like, hey, why don't we just go to Columbia together? Yeah,
it made it real easy. I don't know, especially when TJ was on me, because I think TJ was already committed. And when he was on me,
I know he's a diehard Gamecock, man. He bleeds it.
Yeah, he's like my brother.
Yeah.
He's like my brother. He'll fight people over it. I don't know. He had me committed pretty much, and then honestly, Coach Elliott, the football. I got pretty tight with him. My phone's sitting up on this thing. But yeah, Zach was talking to Coach Elliott, and I got to meet him because I play football too. And so I actually saw a bunch of the recruiting coordinators for all these, I don't know, major colleges through Zach. And I got really tight with Coach Elliott. And then when TJ was talking to me, and then when Coach Holbrook, came in the picture, it was just I don't know, it just seemed like it fit, and I really liked the coaches. I liked the players. I knew that if I already knew people when I was going in, I'd already be more comfortable. And just I feel like if you're more comfortable when you go in, then it's not, I don't know, it's not as new. It's not, you don't feel so overwhelmed. And so I felt like that was a big part for me as well.
For sure. So I want to talk about Coach Holbrook a little bit, and we're going to kind of get into what happened going from the transition from Holbrook to Kingston. But what was the relationship like with him? I know he was obviously on the staff when South Carolina won the back-to-back national titles. Definitely a player's coach. Players loved him. I mean, all your teammates I've had on that have talked about him, they all loved him. What was the relationship like between you and Holbrook?
Yeah, so I love Coach Holbrook. I still talk to him every so often. I loved Coach Holbrook. I love playing for him. We've always had a good relationship. I never had met him before I committed to him. Well, no, so when I committed to Clemson, I had never met Coach Holbrook. Coach Myers was the one that originally showed me around on my first visit when I was a freshman or something. So I didn't really know him. But then when I decommitted from Clemson, we got really tight through him recruiting me. He actually came down to some football games. He, I think, watched me play against Goose Creek my junior year after I decommitted. And so I created a relationship with him then, and I don't know, I just fell in love with the guy, man. He's awesome. He's a great dude. He just was a lot like a lot of people I know from Somerville, just kind of laid back. So we just kind of hit it off.
For sure. So as a freshman in 2017, Sawyer, you made 8 appearances, but you tore your rotator cuff, which leads me to this question, because I know Gamecock fans later in your career, and you were a guy that was constantly battling arm injuries. And a lot of guys do, but were you over the top when you came in, or were you always sidearm, or did you drop down because of the injury?
Yeah. So come to find out, I had I'd always had arm injuries throughout high school. But I never thought they were serious. I thought, I'd thought it was just soreness. So I would play around with arm slots, but I never dropped like super low. And I was a really hard thrower over the top. But when I got hurt my freshman year, I was over the top my freshman year. And I was throwing it pretty good, but I was giving up freaking tanks. So, yeah, I figured out real quick. It doesn't really matter how hard you throw. If it don't move or you ain't got something else to go with it, it don't matter. So, yeah, that's when I made the change, and it was due to the injury that I made the change and had to drop subby.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have like a welcome to the SEC moment? Because, I mean, obviously that 17 team, the entire time you're there, there's talent all over the field. I mean, you're going to see you're gonna get tested in the inner squads and the scrimmages from your own guys. Was there like a welcome to the SEC moment where you're like, yeah, like you said, I got to find a secondary pitch or I got to change something up?
Man, it had to be first fall scrimmage or second fall scrimmage. It wasn't even like season when I learned it. I mean, it was – I never really given up many hits in high school just because, like, if you throw hard and you've got good stuff, don't touch it. And that's – I mean, the difference between high school ball to, like, even JUCO and is just, like, drastic. And then you take that from going straight from high school to SEC ball, it's crazy. And what I started realizing early, like in the scrimmages, was that if you can't change speeds and locate, like these hitters, it's all about the count. If they know it's a 2-0 count and you're throwing a fastball, like they're going to hit it a long way if you put it in their barrel path. And I can't remember who I gave up a bomb to. It was plenty of them, but it was somebody in the fall, and I was just like, Jesus, man, like, that pitch, I either blow it by or just the kid watches it in high school. Yeah, there was a lot of moments though. I mean, definitely, of course, the Kentucky game when I was getting freaking, I don't know, just annihilated. That was right before like I actually found out I had the injury. That game, of course, was kind of the welcome to the SEC. But I think that one, I'm pretty sure that was my second SEC outing. My first one I did all right in. But yeah, I'd say those two moments, just the fall and honestly Kentucky.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about, because like you said, you were committed to Clemson really early on, and then you obviously decommit and you go to South Carolina. So I know that the Carolina-Clemson rivalry had to be very interesting for you. I mean, it's already intense. It's the best rivalry in college baseball, in my opinion. But you got an appearance in that your freshman season through 2/3 scoreless with a strikeout. The game didn't turn out the way you wanted, but to get in there as a freshman against Clemson after decommitting and committing to Carolina, like I'm sure that had to be like such an adrenaline rush for you.
Yeah, so, and I apologize. That alarm's going to go off again. I don't want to get out of the act. But yeah, man, like, you hit it spot on. So, to replay that game a little bit, shoot, I can remember it was like it was yesterday. So, I'm sitting in the bullpen, and I think we give up the home run to Seth Beer for him to tie it. And then someone goes in front of me, and then they throw a wild pitch, like – I think it was tied 3-3. Yeah.
This was the Sunday game, right? This is the Sunday. Yeah, at Carolina.
This was the rubber match. Like,
yeah. I remember that. Okay.
And so it's me and this other guy warming up, and the game's tied. And I haven't even pitched that well in the first place, but we were just running low on arms. T-John was down, and like I did have a good scrimmage, good couple of scrimmages in the spring. So like they thought pretty highly of me. So I was sitting in the bullpen, and me and this other guy, he was a vet. And we were warming up, and I was like, holy crap, like, this is it. Like, I was hoping, though, like, honestly, deep down, I was hoping they would put me in. Like, I mean, I was that – because that's what I came here for. Like, I lived for that. But I didn't get the call then. So the guy goes in, throws a wild pitch. Of course, they score, and so they're up 4-3. And I'm already pissed, but I'm thinking, like, all right, they're going to let him ride it out. Well, then they call down, and they're like, all right, you're in. So, yeah, it was – I mean – there's no ill will for me for Clemson. Like, it was a strictly like business decision. I kind of knew Coach Leggett was going to get fired. You could kind of just see the writing on the wall, and I didn't want to be stuck my senior year trying to find a place to play. Or playing from a coach that I didn't know. So, I mean, for me, it was just the rivalry itself, like the hype of it, the fans, everything else. Like, yeah, man, you hit it on the head. That it was crazy. It was an adrenaline rush, that's for sure. I can't remember what happened in my outing. Like, I couldn't tell you, but I remember the thought process before I went in, and it was intense.
Yeah, I just remember after that series saying, thank God we don't have to ever see Seth Beer again. That dude tore up South Carolina pitching. I mean, he tore up everybody, but, I mean, every time they needed a big hit, he came up with it, it seemed like.
Yeah, I played with him in travel ball, and like he's a super like kind of quiet guy, but man, he's a stud, and you could tell he was gonna be a stud. Like it's that dude's gonna hit everywhere he goes. He's good, man.
Yeah, well, I've got to ask you about that 2017 season again. You suffered the injury. It's like everybody got injured that year. I mean, Clark Schmidt went down, Tyler Johnson went down. And that season was a lot like 2019, the same team you were on, that it seemed like every weekend it came down to the last game and something happened and you guys would drop the series for whatever reason. I know the frustration had to mount. And then over the summer, Chad Holbrook steps down, whatever happens. He's no longer the head coach at South Carolina, goes to College of Charleston. Mark Kingston's hired. Back to Holbrook, though, when you heard of the news, did it surprise you? Like, what was your immediate reaction? You were talking about you didn't want to go to Clemson and, you knew Leggett was going to get fired. How did it – what was the thought process like there? Because, again, you just said you wanted to avoid that, and then you literally run into that same problem after your freshman year.
Yeah, see, like, I'm a realist, so I thought I was gone. Like, I sucked. I had a freaking 11 ERA. I was terrible. I mean, the coach just got, fired. I was really close with him.
So you thought they were going to cut you?
I thought the new
or
coach,
you asked you to transfer or whatever. Like
I thought Coach Kingston was legit going to come in because I put myself in their shoes. A guy comes in, he looks at the returners. Hey, this kid's got an injury that most people already don't come back for, and he had a freaking 30 ERA or whatever it was. Like, why is he even still here? So I was like, man, this is going to be a tough talk. But then Coach Myers called me like middle of the summer. And I guess he kind of had heard who was going to get the job, or maybe Coach King had just gotten the job. And he was like, hey, don't freak out. Like, we'll discuss this later on. And I told him, I was like, Coach, I understand. Like, if this is the conversation and this is the direction it's going, like, just kind of tell me. But he was like, nah, man, like, we'll figure it out going forward. Just kind of be in touch with me, everything else. And so I was like, all right, well, so that was kind of my mindset. It was just like, dang, where am I going to go play now? But, it definitely hurt. I think it was unfortunate, but I think there was a lot of accountability issues. I just feel like some guys, I don't know, they like to point the finger, when things are going bad, instead of pointing it at themselves. But, like I had an 11 ERA. I felt like I got too many outings after that. Like, there's some guys that are batting 200 and thought they should be getting ABs and blaming the coach and doing this and that. And it was the same thing with any coach you play for, even in high school. And it's almost the problem with some people, man. There's just no accountability. So, for me, it was just like I was more disappointed because I felt like if I would have done my job better, maybe it wouldn't have happened. And it's even the same thing like when I played for Coach Kingston. It's just I guess I'm a coach's kid, so I understand it because I saw, with my dad and how it is. You just feel bad when you let your coach down. And so that was more my mindset. I just felt like, man, maybe if I would have pitched better and could have, helped when T-John went down and when Clark went down, like this all wouldn't happen. Same thing in the 2019 season. Like, I was hurt, man. I had no business being out there sometimes, but I wasn't going to say I was hurt because other guys were. Other guys were saying they were sore and stuff. So I was like, well, I can't be that guy on top of it. Like, I've got to go at least try and give him some pitches, not let him throw a freshman who's obviously struggling. Like, so it sucks, man. When it's going bad, it really sucks.
Yeah. I hear you. You said you don't want to be that guy. Give some insight, though, to people of just like how hurt you were, because people don't. When you're a pitcher and your arm's hanging, that's literally your weapon right there. You're hanging every other day, and you're having to ice that thing. Especially, like I said, you recover from the rotator cuff, like so that I'm sure that because you had your best year as a sophomore. You go through the stats: 1.35 ERA, 21 appearances, 5 saves, 25 strikeouts. I know you and Graham kind of split the, as far as who was the closer or whatever, but you threw some big innings that year. Obviously, you everybody remembers the clip of you I think you struck out the last guy in the ECU regional or whatever. You threw some really big innings that year, but I think people just don't understand, like, when you're hurt and you're trying to throw and like it is just, it's nearly impossible. Like, and you battled through it. Kudos to you for that.
Yeah. So people who play with me, they're going to laugh at this because, I don't know. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. But So after SEC tournament, my arm felt like crap, and this was my sophomore year, so it felt like crap. And we had to shoot the regional next week. So I go to the trainer. I'm like, hey, I need a cortisone. Like, let's get a shot to the arm. I just won't throw. Like, Coach Mead had already kind of told me, he was like, man, just take what time you need. Just let me know when you can go. I was honestly like, I really wasn't the closer per se. It was more so if Eddie can't go, because Eddie was our guy.
Right.
But if Eddie couldn't go and they needed a guy to get ground balls or thought that like a righty was coming up or something, then I was the guy. And then towards the end of the season, it turned into me closing. So I started throwing more. And that's why, like I said, in the SEC tournament, I felt like crap. And then, so I got a cortisone, I think, maybe 4 days before the regional. And I remember throwing against ECU, felt fine. Everything felt fine. And then I think I either threw the next day or the day after. And that was, new for me. Because, like I said, with the injury, man, you can't recover. That's
right.
The problem is you just can't recover. And so I remember warming up to our bullpen catcher, and I was like, this was before Wilmington, and this was, the final game to go to the Supers. And I said, dude, you better tell me if it looks like crap. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I was like, you better tell me if it looks like crap. I can't be going out there if it's 75. And he was like, no, you're good. You're good. He was hyping me up.
Right.
And so I throw maybe 5 pitches. I'm like, screw it, whatever. I don't care. If it sucks, it sucks. So I go out there, and my first warm-up pitch, because it flashes on the board, was 74. And I was like, Jesus, this is going to be bad. And next thing I know, I flip in the first pitch to 78. I was just throwing fastballs that were probably change-ups, just rolling over it. And I got 2 ground balls, a line drive, and next thing I know, we were heading off to the Supers. And I was like, I don't know how I did that, but let's go. Let's figure it out now in Arkansas. And it was the same way, man, pure adrenaline, and thank God for cortisone shots.
Throw now, ask questions later, for sure. I love it.
At that point, man, I'm not playing pro ball. It's all to win now. I wanted to go to Omaha. That's what you come to South Carolina for. So at that point, man, I really didn't care. If my arm blew out in Omaha, it did. It really didn't matter.
For sure. So I do want to ask you about, because again, the 17 to 18 year, the bounce back for the team as a whole, not just for you, but the team as a whole was huge. But obviously you go from Holbrook to Kingston. And again, I've talked to a lot of your former teammates just about the impact he had, the transition. From your perspective, though, what was it like? Because again, the 18 season was so interesting. You guys got off to a slow start. Then the Presbyterian game happens. All hell breaks loose, I assume, in the locker room. And then this massive turnaround. You sweep LSU. It's like South Carolina just comes out of nowhere and goes on a tear. But just talk about that 18 season, the impact Kingston had, so quickly it seemed. I mean, I've talked to, I talked to Stokesy and a couple of the hitters. I mean, it's just guys he re-energized a lot of their careers, it felt like, guys at the plate especially.
Yeah. So it was just I don't know. I think it was a lot of guys who were fed up with how they played. I think, going back to that old accountability thing, I honestly think after that Presbyterian, all those coaches just they made you feel what are you doing? I just remember him telling us none of us have earned anything. And what stuck with me is even Coach Kingston was I haven't done anything here. None of you have done anything here. We're all at the same level. And so I think it just brought about the camaraderie that okay, we really all are on the same level. We've got to figure this out together and not be a bust. Because a lot of kids on that team, I think 11, 12 drafted, and the way they had played before, that was not going to happen. They were not going to get drafted. So I think everybody was it was kind of they were pissed off that, we hadn't done something in so long. The season was just going just like everybody thought it was. We were going to, blow it or whatever, just be a bust. So I think a lot of people just got fed up and were like, dude, I'm going to be the player I was supposed to be, and I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I'm going to, I'm going to go and ball out. And I honestly think that's just what it was after that meeting. I know it's been talked about a lot, but that's kind of what it was for everybody. But yeah, I mean, when he came in, it was just new, playing for someone new. It comes in, there's new rules. There's just, it's new everything. So you're just trying to kind of figure it out. But, you know, I was lucky enough that I got close with both coaching staffs. You know, I loved complete, I wouldn't say opposites, but like the way they coach, I guess, and the structure is a little bit different. But I mean, obviously both work. You know, Coach Holbrook's doing really well down at College Charleston, and Coach Kingston's got a great resume. So, and you know, we played really well that year, and I think they're going to be really good this year. So, I mean, it's any style can work. It's just a matter of having the right group of guys to buy in, and that's the biggest thing is the buy-in from the players. And like I said, we just held ourselves accountable that year and kind of figured it out.
For sure. So I want to jump ahead again. We already talked about kind of the ECU regional. Obviously, you guys go to Fayetteville. You're one game away from Omaha. That 19 season, I know you were talking about, like you said, you were the guy if Eddie went down or couldn't go or just whatever. But that 19 season, you were the guy. You were the closer. Obviously, I'll never forget you guys. 18 and 19 had those tough opening day losses, come back, win the series, whatever. But just talk about the 19 season for you as a whole, because, again, I felt like it was one of those seasons where you more so just dealt with injuries more than anything. I mean, just like you said, your arm was hanging. I mean, it was hanging in 18. It was hanging in 19.
You there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me? Sorry, I might have cut out.
Yeah, I think I got you now.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I can edit it out. It's all good.
All right, my bad.
Right. No, you're fine. I was just gonna say from 18 to 19. I mean, you were the guy in 19, the closer, and you guys had those weird back-to-back opening day losses, but then won the series after. But just, you know, your arm was hanging in 19. I think that was more of a product of, like you said, your arm injuries and struggles with that. And, I mean, you said it was hanging in 18 too. But just talk about the 19 season, because I know that's not necessarily the way you wanted to go out, because that was your last season playing. I think you probably just said screw it with all the injuries going on. But just talk about that 19 season for you personally, just trying to deal with that. And, again, I know I asked you earlier, but just giving people perspective, I mean, how hurt you really were just trying to make it work.
Yeah, so, like, I felt like I just had the great season. We were a really young team, and that 19, like, we were super young, especially on the mound.
Yeah.
And, like, it really wasn't too much expectation, I don't believe. But in the locker room, there was a lot of expectation. And, like, some of us upperclassmen held, like, we expected a lot of that team. I mean, none of us just wanted, like, there's still seniors on that team that want to go out with a bang. So, like, the whole outside noise, like, we were dead set we were going to be really good. And I think we proved that we were a good team. Like, we beat a Liberty team that was really good. We could have swept them if I don't give up a bomb. And, you know, we beat a good Clemson team that got, I think, to a regional or super, one of the two. Like, you know, it was weird, man. I think the injury that happened to Carmen, I think, honestly, was a turning point. And the reason I say that is because I don't think people understood the trickle effect of that. Because, first of all, Reed didn't even come in as a starter. We were starting, I think, a freshman, and then we were starting Carmen as a sophomore, as I think Friday guy at the time or whatever. And then that trickles into the bullpen when now you're asking somebody else to get 5 innings. 5 innings can turn into a lot, especially when you've got a couple of relief guys like myself who can't really bounce back and can't throw a lot. And then you couple that with young arms. I mean, it's not excuses. It's just facts that an injury like that trickles down to not just starters but to the bullpen. And, you know, I probably was just trying to do too much, should have been more honest at times. But, you know, I saw other kids struggling out there as a freshman. And, like, honestly, I know if I was in their position, I'd be pissed off if a junior or senior was sitting in the bullpen. And, you know, I was just getting out there lit up, and they were sitting out there because they said they were a little sore or whatever and in pain. So I was like, man, like, I've got to step up. Like, these kids are looking up to me. I've got to figure out a way to do the job. And so it really sucked, man. Like, it sucked not being able to go out there and perform, you know, for them and for Coach Kingston and Coach B and everybody. So it wasn't fun at all. But I think when we went down to Mississippi State, just to give a perspective, is like we had 7 arms. I don't know if that was, like, reported or whatever, but, man, we're going against the number, I think, 2 or maybe number 1 hitting team in the country with 7 arms. And I mean, I don't know, they weren't our best arms. Like, it's not like we had our top 7 going.
Right.
So it was a struggle, man. Like it was a struggle, and it all started with that injury. But you got to find a way at times, and we did still find a way to get an SEC tournament. I know that shouldn't mean anything, South Carolina fans, like, and us too. Like we knew that, like we by no means thought that really was a win.
Right.
We always want to get the postseason, so it was disappointing for sure, and we felt it. We really were down about it. Especially, you could see it after like the fifth weekend at SEC. You just kind of know where you stand. And then you throw on the fact that we were trying to pitch with 9 arms for most of the weekend, 7 sometimes, and you're trying to fight for your life. It's just tough.
Yeah, the perfect example, because 19 and 17 to me were just extremely similar, because I agree with you. The Carmen injury was the tipping point for sure. And I just remember so vividly watching you guys hosted Georgia that year. And it's like, I think Danny Lloyd threw the first game, or maybe it was Reed, but I just remember talking to somebody and I'm like, man, when you don't have a guy like Carmen and they've got a guy like Emerson Hancock throwing 98, like you almost have no chance. I mean, because you have to win that game 1-0 or 2-1 at best, most likely. You know what I mean? So
I think that was another side. Like, it's bad to say, because as a competitor, you always, like, you think you can win whenever, and if you don't, you're going to lose. And we thought we could win, but like it didn't help that we matched up against a team that was a horrible matchup for us, like Georgia. Like they had 3 freaking top line starters, and that's our first weekend. And here we have all those new kids, and we're trying to tell them, like, hey, because you can't really go in thinking SEC guys are too hot, because you're kind of like, you won't have the edge. So we're trying to tell them, like, hey, they're good, but like they're beatable. And then Emerson Hancock comes out throwing 97 to 100. They bring guys out of the pen. The next guy is a freaking freshman who's up to 98. Like at that point, I think I don't know. I can't speak for them, but it just looked like we were a little bit overwhelmed, deflated, I guess, as a group. And it might have been new guys or whatever, but it was just tough, man, running into a Georgia team like that the very first weekend.
For sure. I want to move to a positive note, the 2019 season, because I'm sure you celebrated in this success, because you talked about he's your brother, TJ Hopkins, that Clemson series. I mean, I don't know what was going on that looked like a beach ball to him. I was at all 3 games. I mean, home run after base hit after RBI. Just talk about that weekend for you. I mean, again, I know it's tough because you're dealing with the injury, but to see your boy out there just destroying Clemson pitching, I mean, that had to be a blast.
The Tiger Killer. Yeah, dude. He every series, if you look back, I'm pretty sure he went off. Like, something else. Like, he's something else, man. If you it doesn't matter what sport it is, whatever. If you give him an extra edge like that, like the fact that he had his adrenaline going, like he can work himself up to hate just about anything, and it was like you couldn't talk to him during that series. He was just on another level, and it hyped me up, man. We would hype each other up too, and it was kind of cool because he was hurt my sophomore year.
Yeah, but that's right.
Like, he was the first one out of the dugout every time. Like, he was my hype man. So like, I would try to be that for him, even when I, of course, was blowing all my games. I was still trying to be there for him, and of course every teammate of mine. But yeah, it was cool because we grew up together.
For sure. Talk about this past spring, obviously, 2020. You're a grad assistant. Just kind of give me some insight of how that came about. I'm sure it was conversations with Coach Kingston and stuff like that. I mean, you knew you weren't going to pitch your senior year because of the injuries. Just talk about how that came about. I mean, unfortunately, the season getting shut down early, but what that experience was like for you, because I know it sounds like you're kind of transitioning into a coaching career.
Yeah. So the injury, like, I still can't throw to this day. Like, I can barely throw a baseball. Like, it's pretty embarrassing. That injury happened after Upstate. You still there?
Yeah, I'm good. Yep.
Yeah. So that injury happened after Upstate. And so I didn't even tell the coaches because I kind of thought it was just normal and like it would kind of come back to life because that's kind of what it did. It was weird. But anyways, it didn't. And so I talked to Coach King in my exit meeting. He was like, hey, why don't you come join the staff, help out Coach Meade? I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that because I wanted to already get to college coaching. So, yeah, like my senior year, it was a blast. It was new for me. Like, of course, like anything, it was a little new, spending a couple extra hours a day at the field, not really having your hand in it as much. And obviously, like as a student coach, you're not really doing like I don't know, I guess true coaching. You're more so just there to provide like help and be the go-between. But man, Coach Me was really like welcoming with that, and we already had a good relationship. So it was really fun, like working with the guys, working with the freshmen, you know, and just getting to see how everything works behind the scenes. But yeah, the season was fun too. I was curious to see how we would have stacked up in SEC play. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you think the season was going to go? Because I mean, it's just we all kind of remember where we were when we heard the news when the season was canceled or whatever. And I mean, I'll be honest, I was pretty hyped for this team going into SEC play. I thought this team was obviously had the really tough series loss to Clemson, but I thought getting hot at the right time. Like I really thought this was going to be a team that was going to make some noise in SEC play.
Yeah, I think I've said this to a couple of my buddies because they always asked, especially like ones that were in pro ball and weren't in it anymore, and of course weren't in the program. But like I think with how Brandon Jordan and Thomas Farr were coming on to Matt, like Carmen was gonna figure it out. It was just a matter of when. So you're throwing 3 top line arms. I mean, the Thomas Farr I've been hearing has been up to like 97, 98 already this fall. Like Brandon Jordan's filth. And of course Carmen was a first rounder, and he, like I said, he was gonna figure it out. Then you throw our guys in the pen, you know, you'd had to carry back in the back. They put him back there. Man, I think we'd have been really tough, to be honest. Tennessee was really good. That was our first weekend.
I mean, you see what Crochet, who would have started Friday, he's already in the big leagues.
Right. Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, that would have been whew.
That'd have been a good test. It'd been a very good test.
Yeah, I'm not saying we'd have done well against him. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I would have been curious to see how we would have done, honestly. I mean, I think we're a really talented group. It's all he says, she said. I mean, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just more mad you didn't get to see like Majinski, Crochet, Majinski, Hancock. Like those would have been some legendary pitching battles. But I want to get your take because, again, that was your 1 year coaching with Carolina. But overall, I mean, you know all these guys. You were there this past spring, and you mentioned Jordan, you mentioned Farr, and like I told you, I'm a huge baseball guy, so I'm already thinking baseball right now. I'm very high on this team as far as going into next season and kind of what Coach Kingston's building. I was able to go watch the Blowfish over the summer and see Brady Allen, see Wes Clark. Brendan Malone's going to be a freaking stud for this team, a stud. Just kind of give your overall. I mean, again, I know we're looking way ahead, and you know, people ask me, "Hey, what's the rotation going to be?" And you're like, "Dude, I mean, it can change next week." But just your overall projection, just for Carolina baseball under Mark Kingston. I mean, I'm very high on it. I'd assume you'd probably say the same.
Yeah. I think they'll be fine. I think they're really talented. I think they'll be fine this year. I've heard some very good things as far as, you know, guys throwing, what they've got coming in, the recruiting classes they've got for the next couple of years. I mean, it's going to be Carolina baseball will be okay. I really believe so. I think we all just need to kind of take a deep breath and just kind of let it happen. But yeah, the guys have been throwing really well. There's a couple guys that are throwing better than expected, at least from what I'm hearing. So it should be a really fun spring. I think there'll be some guys that some newer guys that'll have big time, you know, seasons, I feel. So it'll be fun. And Brendan Malone, I think he was hurt most of the year last year. So he's a stud. If people don't know, that kid is a stud. He's going to be a freaking first, second rounder. So I expect him to have a big season too. But like you said, it's early, but I know they're super talented. Honestly, you know, I haven't seen those guys since whenever we ended. I haven't actually seen any of them live, so it's not like I can really give any insight other than just kind of what I'm hearing as far as numbers go. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of flamethrowers. I know that a lot. There's gonna be a lot of radar gun popping.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I was gonna say I watched Brennan drop some nukes over the summer, so I mean it's gonna be a fun time for sure. I'm gonna get you out of here, Sawyer. But last question before I let you go: if you had to look back, and I know there were a lot of ups and downs in your career, but just your favorite memory. It doesn't even have to be on the field. Just favorite memory from being a Carolina baseball player. You know, playing for the Garnet and Black.
Shoot,
I'm sure there's plenty of good memories you can't say aloud. I'll say that.
Yeah, that is for sure. I had a good time, that's for sure. But I would say, shoot, Honestly, man, honestly my first game. I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but that's kind of a lame answer. But man, like it's not real until you walk on the field. And my brother went to school there, and he went to school there during the national championships. And I actually met Christian Walker, Jackie, and all those guys. So my brother was friends with a guy named Forrest Kumis. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah. Kumis is a good buddy of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually met all those guys at Kumis's apartment when, like, I think this was 2011 when they were all national champions. So, like, I remember that. And then all of a sudden you're walking on the field for your first game, and you're like, holy crap, like, now I'm kind of wearing the same jersey that these guys wear. Like, and then Fish told me, like, I think I was Bobby Haney's jersey, and like they didn't change jerseys, so whatever jersey he had is the same one I'm wearing. So
right.
that to me was pretty cool. But yeah, it was just really cool that first game, signing autographs, like stuff you've kind of dreamed of, and like honestly, I almost caught the yips in the outfield because I'd never thrown with the fence that low.
Right.
And I'm playing catch, and of course, my throwing partner, he's an asshole. He wanted line. He's like, dude, I'm not throwing there. So I'm like, all right. So, you know, I went out there, and I was like, Jesus, because there was all that student section right there. Right. I thought I was going to just airmail one.
Just smoke somebody in the face.
Yeah. I was a little wild. So, but yeah, man, I was just looking around. I was like, holy crap. And seeing, you know, family in the stands. You got 7,000 deep on opening day, or 8,000, how many ever we hold. It was really cool. So the first game was just really awesome.
Ironically enough, I think TJ's answer was damn near the same as yours. So there you go. You guys really are brothers. Well, Sawyer, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to let you go here, but I appreciate you taking the time, man. I know I can speak for all Gamecock fans, especially Carolina baseball fans. It was a pleasure to watch you do what you do. And I used to refer to you as the Bulldog, and you certainly were that, battling through the injuries and doing what you did. But appreciate you taking the time, man. Obviously, best of luck with your coaching career, and we'll definitely be staying in touch for sure.
Yeah, man. Sorry about the alarms.
No, you're good. You're good. So perfect. He Sawyer Bridges. I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you next time on an episode of the Spurs Up Show.